Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to Storytime, Batman Nightfall. Batman Nightfall, the story of Bane breaking Batman's back and his replacement by Jean-Paul Valley, is possibly the greatest Batman story ever told when you include Knightquest and Knightsend, the reign of Jean-Paul Valley's Batman and Bruce's eventual return and retaking of the mantle of the Bat. You will see Batman pushed to his absolute limit and beyond. It is truly a testament to his indomitable spirit, what he endures in these pages. This is not the tale of a hero's success, but of his greatest fall, and of the honor with which he faces his end. It does not end with his breaking, though, and you will also see the twisting and perversion of the incarnation which replaces him. In the letter columns of the time, some fans cheered on the brutal new version of Batman, while other fans bemoaned what had become of a once proud and noble hero's name. It was controversial and caused many to drop the books entirely. I think Jean Paul's Batman was meant as a parody of the worst and most prevalent elements of 90s comics. The amount of blades, guns, and psychological trauma only matched by the amount of unnecessary pouches and lethality. But that's all for later. This first part is only the beginning of a much longer tale, which I will eventually adapt all of. Nightfall itself will be 3 parts, each covering about 8 comics. For now, Nightfall begins when Bruce has just begun to see a new doctor for his exhaustion from being Batman for too long. No human body was meant to endure what Bruce does, and it's starting to take its toll. It's the worst time possible for a new villain, Bane, to come on the scene, and he's determined to bring the Batman down, no matter what it takes. We'll begin 3 issues before the start of the event proper, as a lot of setup occurs here that will factor in later. Killer Croc roams the streets, remembering his lifetime of being shunned by society, and while he searches for refuge, Bruce meets with his new therapist, Dr. Chandra Kinsolving, at the Botanical Gardens. She tells him he needs to rest, and while his mind knows this, his body won't concede it. Neither hypnosis nor meditation has helped his exhaustion. She tells him to believe in her, and that her approach will combine the medical with the emotional and the spiritual, and she asks him to trust her with his soul, and he agrees. Later, Bane and his henchmen see Killer Croc on TV. Bird, one of Bane's 3 lieutenants, tells Bane that Croc used to be the kingpin of the underworld before reaching his current sorry state. Croc tried to prove his worth by taking out Batman, and if Bane is to rule Gotham, he must succeed where Croc failed. To prove his worth to even attempt the task, Bane decides to take on Croc himself. Bruce finally sleeps thanks to new sedatives. Jean-Paul Valley is a young man who has come to train under Batman following the Sword of Azrael miniseries. He was raised by the Order of Saint Dumas, which his father served as the avenging angel Azrael, and has hypnotically placed fight training embedded in his mind, known as the System. Robin tells Paul he's going out tonight, and that he'll be posing as Batman while Robin takes the actual lead. Bane prepares to go out as well, while Croc creates havoc at a Gotham mall. Croc lashes out at some mannequins, seeing them as jeering children, when Jean and Robin arrive to corral him. Robin uses gas while Jean-Paul engages the beast, trying to keep his distance as instructed. You'll notice Batman and Robin are both wearing Death of Superman armbands. This was when Funeral for a Friend was running in the Superman books, Superman having died very recently. Croc's skin is too tough, and this fight isn't having much effect, when Jean notices Bane on the monitor, and in his distraction, Croc grabs him. Bane distracts Croc by challenging him, and he forgets Jean-Paul. Bane fuels his muscles with Venom, and when Croc swings at him, he grabs his reptilian arm and breaks it easily. Robin collects Jean while Croc tries again to punch Bane, but he dodges, his speed equaling his strength. Bane kicks Croc into a toy store window. Bane leaves Killer Croc crushed and defeated, and as he passes Robin, he tells him he is Bane, but that is not Batman. The disguise does not fool him. Jean is humbled by this experience as well, and plans to begin his training for real. Bruce tells Jean-Paul that Gordon would know it's not him, and he resumes his duties. Gordon delivers Riddler's latest riddle to Batman, while Bane watches the meeting from afar. Bane notices Bruce is slowing, moving as if he's in pain. Bird tells Bane that Riddler isn't a physically imposing opponent. Bane has no use for puzzles and games, and plans to give Riddler an upgrade. Riddler awaits Batman in a bell tower rigged to explode, and he primes his device. Bane appears from the shadows and riddles him with small darts. He has dosed Riddler with Venom, and for the next 48 hours he will be a muscle man. Batman solves the riddle and arrives with 10 seconds on the clock. His usual attack doesn't faze the Riddler, and he strikes back with venom-infused punches for 2 seconds. Batman dodges and counters as the clock ticks down, but he still takes a beating as well. Riddler ducks out as seconds tick down, and Batman must stop the bell from chiming and triggering the device. He's not sure if he's strong enough to hold it. Batman hangs on long enough to throw a batarang and take out the detonator, disarming the explosive. He then discovers the small darts and puts together that Riddler was drugged. Chandra discovers that Bruce wasn't even aware she was a recipient of his scholarship program. He had simply heard that she was the best. She tells him to rest, but he is bothered by the Venom darts he found. Bruce once battled Venom himself when his strength once failed to save a life, and he used it as a crutch for a time. He knows all too well what it can do. All he has on his side now are the sedatives. The Riddler has planted fish poison at the docks to be carried out with the high tide. Batman catches him leaving, and they fight in the surf. Riddler is beyond pain, high on venom, and his strength is tenfold. Batman won't let that stop him, and he continues to fight Riddler as the tide rises. Bane's henchmen, Bird, Trog, and Zombie, decide to send a message. They open fire from the docks, shooting the Riddler several times, forcing Batman to save him. Batman drags Riddler to safety, but is too slow to stop the escaping henchmen. He stops the poison from going out just in time. Bane's plan will come to full fruition with the breaking out of all of Arkham's inmates. He has stolen munitions both to break open the prison and to arm the prisoners. Bird tells him Joker is the one to break out first, the best to lead the assault inside. Bird's Falcon carries nitroglycerin over the correct spot in a wall, and by shooting a balloon it is dropped, and the Joker is freed. A guard taken out by the bomb has dropped his gun, which Joker makes use of to kill another guard. Bane fires a Stinger missile at the center of the cell block, and Joker frees the inmates inside. Joker keeps shooting guards as the inmates rush out. Bane blows a hole in the cell block wall with another Stinger, and his henchmen lift off in a helicopter. Joker has made his way to Warden Jeremiah Arkham's office. From the chopper, Trog and Zombie drop crates of assault rifles into the yard of the prison. The police arrive and begin to enter the grounds, unaware they're walking into a firefight. The Joker has tied Jeremiah up to a shotgun that will blow his head off if he moves, asking if he feels saner now that he's restrained. Batman arrives on a glider and drops onto the blasted roof. Bane knows that Batman will choose to save lives rather than stop the flood of escapees, and he is correct. The orderlies have all holed up in one area. Batman intercepts the inmates heading back in with assault rifles to slaughter the orderlies. He uses smoke to disorient them and takes out all the thugs in ones and twos. Joker tells Arkham that all his improved security was for naught, as all it got him was the biggest breakout in Arkham's history. He says he'll enjoy the freedom of madness, the only freedom there is. Batman recloses the cells as Bane and his henchmen fire more Stinger missiles. They destroy the police blockade, and now the inmates have a clear path to the outside. They stream out into the night, Joker among them, while Batman has one batarang throw to try and free Jeremiah Arkham, and it must be perfect. The batarang cuts the string, and Jeremiah is narrowly saved. Or is he? He babbles like a madman, as the inmates flood the Gotham night with raucous cries and gunfire. All of them will be loose to create chaos in the city, and with Batman already weakened, it will be his greatest challenge yet to contain them. Nightfall has begun. Nightfall, Part 1. Crossed Eyes, Dotty T's. Batman and Robin look over the list of Arkham escapees. Both major and minor villains fill the screen of the Batcomputer. Bruce asks who did this to him. Who broke them out of Arkham? The Mad Hatter and his pet monkey rob a hat store. Batman hears the call go out, and knowing the odder the crime, the more likely they are to find an escapee. He and Robin race to the scene in the Batmobile. Meanwhile, detectives Harvey Bullock and Renee Montoya look over the same list of escapees. 9 incidents already and 6 dead, and they have nothing to show for it. Gotham is in chaos, and they too are trying to look beyond the chaos to see a larger plan at work. While stealing the hats, Mad Hatter caught a glimpse of Bird's Falcon, and had the monkey place a tracker on it to see who was spying on them. At the hat shop, Batman finds an invitation to a tea party. The Hatter has invited several lower-level thugs to his meeting, and after demanding the guests all put on the hats he left for them, he induces the trance, and they become his puppets thanks to circuitry in the hats. He sends the film freak out on a mission. As they reach Tennille Estates, Sir John Tennille being the illustrator of several Wonderland books, Batman is visibly tiring. He insists to Robin that he's fine, and tells him to stay out of danger. He's backup. Meanwhile, Bird has found the tracker on his Falcon and destroys it. Zombie sees someone looking around outside. Film Freak was following the tracker. Batman makes his appearance at the tea party as Bane prepares to deal with the intruder. Batman asks the Mad Hatter if Film Freak is part of Bane's plan too. Hatter only asks him who Bane is, and Bane responds through the hat receiver, telling Hatter that his man is dead. Angered, he triggers the hats to simulate the thug's adrenal cortexes, and they fly into a rage. Bane ducks behind a trash can as Film Freak opens fire. Hatter pushes Batman at the thugs, saying now is the chance he promised them to kill the Batman. Robin wonders how long to hold back. Bane throws a trash can at Film Freak and tackles him. Robin sees Hatter going for a machine gun and decides he's held back long enough. Bane breaks Film Freak's arm as Robin joins the fray, jumping on Mad Hatter's back. Hatter's monkey jumps on Robin though, and Hatter fires the gun. Batman dodges and throws a batarang, knocking the gun away. Bane headbutts the unconscious Film Freak. Batman tells Robin they're controlled by the hats and they both start knocking them off. Hatter goes for his gun again. Bane kicks Film Freak as Batman uppercuts the Mad Hatter. Through his hat radio, the Film Freak's final scream can be heard as Bane snaps his neck. Bane throws the freak out with the garbage, saying he's dead just like the Batman. Robin tells Batman he's wrong, they'll get him first. 2 down, Hatter and Film Freak. Only the rest of the madhouse to go. Nightfall, Part 2, Puppets. Following the breakout at Arkham, criminals filled the night headed for Gotham, not knowing or caring who had freed them. The ventriloquist uses his sock to create a puppet, whom he names Socko, to help guide him in his search for his Scarface puppet. He gains the trust and help of Amygdala, a large and confused man with the mind of a child. That was last night. Now Batman and Robin find the corpse of Film Freak. Almost every bone in his body has been broken, and he was beaten to death with someone's bare hands. Robin sees Bird's Falcon and says that some of the escapees may be looking for them already. Batman would rather be more active than reactive, but there's no pattern yet. They have to move fast. The really dangerous ones will be the ones who have time to plan. The ventriloquist asks for help finding Scarface in an underworld bar, and they laugh at his face. They stop laughing once Amygdala enters, though, and beats all of them to a pulp. Batman hears a call on the radio for a break-in at a toy store and races to the scene. Batman orders Robin to wait outside, and he goes in alone. Robin sees the Falcon again and decides it's not a coincidence. Batman's relieved to see it's only the ventriloquist, and asks him to come quietly. His new puppet warns Batman there's a monster behind him. Amygdala grabs Batman in a rage and lifts him over his head. Meanwhile, on the roof, Robin confronts Bird. Batman is thrown into the shelves of toys and executes a handspring kick to knock Amygdala away. Robin nabs the Falcon in his cape, but Bird punches him. He backflips away and kicks Bird in the face. Bird and Amygdala both take the upper hand as Batman is smashed into a train set. Amygdala clutches his head in pain and Batman knocks him out by striking a nerve cluster. Bird is ordered to retreat and Robin gets a reprieve. Batman is so exhausted he forgets to bring in the ventriloquist as he limps out to the Batmobile to find Robin's note. Already the call is coming over the radio. Hostages have been taken by Zsasz at a school. Nightfall, Part 3, Red Slash. Racing from my grave. Already dead. But I can't rest. Not after the Arkham breakout. 30-odd murders already, and all the work of minor madmen. Of the 4 major ones to make a move, the Mad Hatter and Amygdala have been captured, the ventriloquist is still at large, and the Film Freak himself has been murdered. It's barely begun, but the grave is rushing closer. And now... Zsasz, serial killer, recently escaped from Arkham. Holed up in the Bates School for Women. Hostages. Send tactical squads at once. No rest. Not for the wicked. Nor for those who dare deal with them. Should be gone after the one behind it all. The stone-cold center around which all the rest rages. Bane. But to reach him, got to fight through the storm itself. Chaos, perfectly orchestrated with a single masterstroke. Free the madmen. Free the monsters. And let them run wild. Zsasz displays his body to his terrified hostages, covered in hatch marks, each line representing someone he's killed. The police had the school blockaded, but the 2 men they sent inside were caught and killed by Zsasz. 2 more marks on his skin. One of the girls insists if they all fight him, they can win. Bird is watching the school and reporting back to Bane in his hideout. Bane says that Batman may be physically weakened, but his mind is still strong. He's not yet ready to be broken. so that when Bane does it, the pieces stay broken. Zsasz throws down the bodies of the two cops, saying that for these two transgressions, 2 hostages will pay with their lives. But Batman has finally arrived, and he tells the police no more moves. He's going in. Batman engages his night vision lenses and begins searching the floor Zsasz was on. As he opens the door, hands jump out and grasp his neck. It's Robin. Batman says they'd only get in each other's way in the dark and tells him to leave. Robin says he's met one of Bane's henchmen, Bird, and has attacked Falcon, and as if he should follow him. Batman tells him not to confront Bane. Zsasz informs his hostages that 2 of them must die for the police's actions. As he selects one, only the girl whose idea it was to attack him does so. He easily overcomes her and selects her as number 2. Renee Montoya bursts in with a gun, but she doesn't dare risk the hostage's life by shooting. Mayor Kroll blames Gordon for not shooting to kill at the breakout, and he's holding Gordon responsible if any of the students are hurt. Montoya offers herself in place of the hostage, and Zsasz accepts. It does no good, though, as she's only saved one of the girls, and now he needs a third for Renee's transgression. Just then, Batman breaks in through the window. Zsasz says that he and Batman are alike, both hunters. The only difference is their choice of prey, and that Batman doesn't kill. But now Batman must know what it's like to be hunted. The breakout at Arkham means someone has it in for him. From the fatigue on Bruce's face, he sees that he is right. Batman asks him what Bane's plan is, but he knows nothing. Renee headbutts Zsasz and stomps on his foot, freeing herself and giving Batman the chance he needs. Batman chases him into the dark hallway, but finds nothing. Zsasz is hiding atop a light fixture and jumps down, slashing Batman's cape. Batman kicks him into a classroom. Zsasz throws his knife, but Batman blocks it with a globe. He hurls it at Zsasz and blocks his high kick as he rushes in. Batman throws Zsasz into a desk and jumps on top of him. Zsasz tells him to finish it and kill him, and Bruce flies into a rage, beating Zsasz and screaming that he's not a killer. Detective Montoya has to stop him before he makes himself a liar. Bird reports to Bane that Batman did it again, but this time he looks whipped. Nightfall, Part 4, Crocodile Tears. Killer Croc has taken refuge in the sewers, hunting rats to survive. His broken arms were set in casts at Arkham, but he was released in the breakout. He dreams of taking revenge on the man who broke them, Bane. Above, Bane enjoys the terror he created on the streets of Gotham. The streets are empty as people cower indoors, and Bane revels in their fear. Bird reports back on Batman's deteriorating condition. Bane wants to let him run more of the gauntlet to learn the extreme limit of his endurance. Robin watches them from on high in the rafters. The daytime passes and Batman has passed out on the roof of the girls' school as Zsasz is taken away by the police. Robin is unable to raise him on the radio. Bird wishes Bane had let him take out Robin, and Bane says the job is his later if he wants it. He's preoccupied with choosing the precise moment to make his final move. Robin has to decide on his own what to do when the gang splits up, and he elects to follow Bane onto an elevated train. Robin loses sight of Bane as the train becomes a subway and he switches to night vision lenses. Bane sneaks behind him and Robin is captured. That night, Batman is awakened by Bullock with his flashlight. He tells Batman he's not looking so good, but Batman has to go and find Robin. Bullock thinks Batman needs to sleep. Robin can take care of himself. He'd better be right, because when Robin awakens, he has his hands tied and is blindfolded, and he's perched precariously on a narrow ledge in the sewer. Bane says that he knows Batman, but Robin is a wild card. He asks about the pretend Batman, and he says that he was being nice by blindfolding him. It would have been easier to simply blind him. He admires Robin's defiance, his youthful struggle against fear. Robin tries to find his bearings on the narrow ledge. He tells Bane that he's no hostage. Batman won't fall into a trap on his account. Robin tries a jump kick, which Bane easily catches. Robin says he'll only tell Bane one thing about Batman. He's beaten guys who make him look like a Girl Scout. Bane slams him into the ledge. Robin gets back up, and his blindfold is then removed, but by Killer Croc, who wants to know where Bane is. Robin's hands are still tied, and he tries to get out of danger as Bane leaps down from a pipe and attacks Croc. Bane and Croc trade blows, and Croc manages to break Bane's Venom device, somewhat evening the fight. Robin manages to slip his legs over his arms and then use his R emblem to cut his ropes. Croc seems to have the upper hand on Bane. But Bane fights back and breaks one of Croc's arms again. The bridge gives way and all three fall into the rushing water below. Bane and Croc continue to fight each other as they are all drawn into the tunnels which might run all the way to the harbor. Nightfall, Part 5. Night terrors. Robin tries to fight the current and avoid being swept under. He uses his retractable stab to catch the arch of the tunnel, giving him time to try and throw his emblem in a line. It wraps around a grate, and Robin's able to pull himself to safety. Bane and Croc continue on through the sewers. The Joker visits Cornelius Stirk, a hypnotic madman who is obsessed with harvesting norepinephrine and adrenaline from the hearts of his terrified victims, and he has a proposal for him. At Wayne Manor, Bruce apologizes for canceling another appointment with Dr. Kinsalting. He hangs up on her when Alfred tells him Tim Drake has returned. Batman tries to figure out why Bane would be fighting Croc after breaking him out of Arkham. Robin suggests maybe there is no master plan. He was fighting the Riddler too, after all. Maybe the plan is just chaos, to run Batman ragged as he tries to contain it. Batman is sure there's more to it, and in any case, not trying to stop the chaos isn't an option. Robin suggests maybe letting Jean Paul and him share the burden, but Bruce says that Bane is after him, and as long as he can stand, it's his task alone. Alfred thinks they're both nuts. Bane lost Croc and is back in his hideout. The news reports that Batman's encounter with Zsasz may have destabilized him mentally, and Bane observes that the erosion of his body is now also affecting his mind. The plan is working. Zombie provides him with a repaired Venom feed. Batman uses his computer to find sightings of famous dead people, the calling card of Cornelius Stirk. He races for the area in the Batmobile. In another part of the city, Scarecrow searches for the Joker in a pool hall. He uses his fear gas to make a thug see his greatest fear, and he sees himself balanced on tall pool cues above a great height. The man tells him Joker's plan is to kidnap and control Commissioner Gordon and use him to control the whole police force. Scarecrow snaps a pool cue. The sound triggers the cues in the man's mind to break, and he passes out in fright. In the hub, Batman hears the sound of Stirk's cart near a corpse, which he uses to dispose of bodies. He catches Cornelius Stirk going into his apartment building, but he's too late to catch him. Luckily, he has scrawled his plan to kill Gordon, and Batman races to the bat signal. At Jean Paul's apartment, he trains hard. Robin is worried about Batman, and Jean swears he'll be ready to help when they're needed. Gordon meets who he believes is Batman by the bat signal and begins to tell him the mayor plans to call out the National Guard, but it's actually Stirk using his hypnosis. He attacks Gordon with a knife, much to Joker's chagrin, who is watching with binoculars. The real Batman knocks the knife out of Stirk's hand with a batarang, and Stirk pulls a gun. Batman pushes Gordon down as Stirk fires, and hits him with another batarang, though missing the gun in his exhaustion. Joker declares this plan a complete disaster. Batman punches, chops, and kicks Stirk into submission, and Joker is met by an unknown ally. The Scarecrow has found him, and he's offended Joker went for the help of an amateur in fear when the Master was available. He proposes they team up, but that the Commissioner is too small scale for the likes of them. He suggests they kidnap and control the mayor instead. Joker's thrilled with the idea. It will bring even more fear and chaos to Gotham. Batman tries to calm Gordon, still under the influence of Stirk's powers. He raves that Batman killed him as his wife, Sarah, comes and collects him. She yells at Batman to leave her husband alone. He's brought him nothing but trouble. Batman broods. Everything is collapsing, and the big ones like Joker and Two-Face haven't even made their moves yet. Joker and Scarecrow are making that move that very night, however, and they use Scarecrow's fear gas to terrify Mayor Kroll after Joker has killed all his guards. With just a few phone calls, they can bring the city to its knees. End of Part 1. In Part 2, Batman will continue to run Bane's gauntlet, all the way to the end, and I will tell you of the breaking of the bat. One more part will follow that, deciding who rules the night, and Nightfall will be complete.